All right, guys, the Utah Jazz finally bounced back to a nice win. Tonight it was against the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's talk about it as the Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about the Clippers, and then we'll talk about the Jazz. First, when we talk about the Clippers, you have to talk about a couple things that happened tonight. The Clippers were obviously without Paul George, without Kawhi Leonard, and a few other players. They were pretty shorthanded, and this was the back end of a back-to-back on the road. So this was kind of a scheduled loss for the Clippers, although you have to give them a lot of credit because they really fought to stay in this game. At one point, there were multiple times where the Jazz pulled ahead with like a double-digit lead, and this Clippers team would pull back within it. It's pretty clear what they do, at least from just a high-end look at what they do. They play Zubac at center, but when they're behind, they kind of go to a 5-out offense, and they'll bring in like Robert Covington or someone like that, or Nicholas Batum, and then they kind of have a 5-out offense with like 5 big wings, and it gets even more potent when you've got like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And I know, Kawhi Leonard, I don't know what to think about Kawhi Leonard, if he's even going to be a part of this run. I assume that he'll just start playing in the playoffs, although I think that's pretty dangerous to just not play or play so little and then play in the playoffs, because it just feels like that's how injuries will happen. And so we'll see what happens with that. But Paul George is one of those guys that when he's been playing, he's been just so elite, especially last season where he was at times playing at like an MVP level. And this season, he's been really good. So when Paul George gets back, I don't know when he gets back. Let me know in the comments, Clippers fans, if you're watching this. But when he does get back, this team is still a very good team. Now, I don't know if they're a contender anymore unless Kawhi Leonard's healthy. But will Kawhi Leonard ever get healthy? I don't know. That's the big question mark with this Clippers team. And they're kind of a team that is maybe a trade candidate with someone. If they can figure out a way to get someone on this team, they can possibly get over the top. But who knows? The best player tonight, honestly, for the Clippers tonight, the best player was John Wall, who looked like young John Wall. He was fantastic. I know the numbers. Here, let's bring this up. Let's make me smaller. I know the percentages don't look great, but he really was a big deal in this game. And some of this might have been in the end of the game, like trying to hit threes to catch up when they were behind. But look at this. 13 free throws. He was absolutely wreaking havoc in the lane, and he was playing awesome in transition. He did miss more shots. This is actually pretty surprising to me. I thought he hit more than he did. This could be just kind of being on tired legs and playing in elevation in Utah. But he was awesome tonight, and it was kind of nice to see that John Wall is still a good rotation NBA player, and he can really contribute. And so I'm rooting for John Wall. Other than that, not a lot to really talk about this one. This Clippers team was just tired, so they were playing a bunch of guys. By the way, let's talk about before and anything. That's all I got for the Clippers. I'm sorry, guys. I'm tired tonight. But anyways, this was a nice win for the Utah Jazz to just take advantage of a Clippers team that was really tired. And they had their moments, but they weren't that great. Before we move on to the Utah Jazz, let's talk about Prize Picks. Guys, use promo code HoopsNerd and go to Prize Picks, get free up to $100 match when you sign up. So if you go put in $10, they will match $10. It's like free money. Go do it. And you could win. I was so close tonight. I do it every game, and I was this close. I did my research. I did my work. I had Zubac at 12.5. I had him the over. I missed it by 1 point because I had Colin Sexton on the assists at 4.5. I picked the over. He had 6 assists. 1 point! What a bummer. But anyways, it's a lot of fun. It honestly changes the game. It makes it fun. It gives you things to look for, but I will say, do your research, guys. Make sure you go into it, do your research. I was so close. What a bummer. But anyways, go to Prize Picks, use promo code HoopsNerd, match up to $100. It supports the channel. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz finally won a game. They had lost 5 in a row before this one, and we had really seen the effects of not having Mike Conley. Let's just go through this and who looked great and some of these storylines. The big thing with that I've been impressed with Lauri Markkanen is his ability to score and score efficiently. One thing that I noticed when the first game they played against the Clippers, what's his name? Morris, which Morris twin was it? Marcus Morris absolutely took it to Lauri Markkanen, and he's a big dude. He's strong. He kept him from cutting to the rim and things like that. Markkanen's finding other ways to score, and really the big change lately with Markkanen is that the three-point shot is falling. If you don't remember, earlier in the year, his three-point shot was not, and it was around 20% for the season. It's now gone up, and I think I looked it up. I wrote it in the SLC Dunk post game. You can go read that. But the 5 games before this one without Mike Conley, he's been shooting 42% from 3. Tonight he shot 4 for 7. So that will obviously go up. But that's impressive considering that Mike Conley's not playing. It means that he is getting his own shots when he needs to. Playing all-star level basketball, to be honest. Markkanen's been fantastic. You couldn't be more... If you're a Jazz fan, you've got to be excited that through all these trades, trading Donovan Mitchell, trading Rudy Gobert, they found a good one, a really good one in Lauri Markkanen, potential all-star. We talked about it in the SLC Dunk podcast that we did yesterday. You can go listen to that. It was a really good one. But we talked about, is Lauri Markkanen an all-star? And it's going to be tough. When you go through the different teams and the different forwards, there's only, I don't remember, I think it's, how many spots do they do? 12 spots? So it's tough to make that all-star team, but he has a shot. But he's going to have to be putting up big numbers. 23 points is solid. Can he get to like 25, 26? Can he consistently get these types of rebounds? Because this is another big thing. 9 rebounds. You can tell there was an emphasis on rebounding from Will Hardy because that is a thing that has been really killing the Jazz. Tonight they shored that up a little bit. 9 rebounds from Markkanen, 7 from Olynyk, 12 from Vanderbilt. And like I said, some of this might be tired legs for the Clippers, but it's a good sign. You better out-rebound them, and they did. And that includes like Zubac, and they're a big team. So this is good stuff in terms of rebounding. So nice to see Lauri Markkanen continue to be just a consistently good small forward. It's the most important position in the NBA, and the Jazz have a nice one in Markkanen who's looking really good. My guess is they're going to try to get him into another contract, right? What an awesome thing to get Lauri Markkanen in those trades and now be able to lock him in for years to come. Absolutely fantastic. One of the big things the Jazz wanted to do this offseason was find young players that they could hopefully improve and develop, and they found it in Markkanen. Olynyk was solid tonight, 12 points. He was a plus 19, tied for the lead in plus minus. He brings so much to the floor, and I know some people talk about like the rebounding, which is part of it. He needs to be a better rebounder, but he did grab 7 tonight. The thing is, I actually feel like Olynyk is a big part of what this Jazz team does offensively. They right now have the number. We can look at it. Let's look at it right now. Let's look at it. Really quickly, let's pull it up. I was looking at the offensive and defensive ratings for these teams. Utah right now, offensive rating, and this is updated. So they're the number 4 offense in the league. And this is holding steady since Mike Conley went out. So that's one thing that they have not necessarily missed with Mike Conley gone. Now, you could argue, you could look at turnover percentage. That's been something that's been awful for the Jazz. They need to shore that up. If Mike Conley comes back, you could see them go even higher. But look at the company the Jazz are keeping right now. You've got Boston, who looks like an absolute world beater. Phoenix, and you have the Phoenix Suns, who've been in close to the finals or finals contender for the last 3 years. Denver Nuggets with Jokic, we know what they do. And the Sacramento Kings have been the beam team this year. Their offense is out of this world. And the Jazz are right there at number 4. It's kind of amazing. Now, the big thing with Utah is, look at this. We're going to go down to the bottom. It got a little bit, actually, it got one worse tonight. So before this game, they were 23. Now they're 24. So this is the issue with the Jazz, is the defense. Offensively, this is what's helping them win these games, is Kelly Olynyk is a big part of this. This was the whole point of this little tangent. You're not here without Kelly Olynyk. Why? Well, because he's doing things like this, shooting 1 for 2 from 3. He's getting 3 assists. Look at that, 3 block shots, and he's scoring 12 points on high efficiency, 4 for 7. You are not getting that number 4 offensive rating without Kelly Olynyk, and that's why he plays. He's phenomenal. But there is like that other side of the coin where the defense isn't as good. He's just not an elite defender, but he does some nice things. I think he's one of the smarter players out there. I think one of the things the Jazz had hoped before this year, and just are kind of hoping in general, is that Jared Vanderbilt could kind of make up for that and could be that defensive, all NBA player. And he's had moments this season, and I don't know if he's still on track. We'll see. Feels like he's kind of tapered off a little bit the last month or so. But tonight, he definitely showed up. Tonight had one of his best games of the year, to be honest. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He did everything. Everything. So Jared Vanderbilt was a monster part of this game. And it's interesting. Look at that. 24 minutes. This is just pretty standard. He plays 24 minutes. He starts the first quarter and he starts third quarters. And then I guess he'll just play dependent on matchups and who Will Hardy wants to play. Which, by the way, I love. That type of basketball is great. If you can do that, then you're looking at a player that can really affect games. And when he's having a really nice game like tonight, it's really nice to see. He had a few hook shots, too, that was nice to see. His touch around the rim is not as good as you would think, but tonight it was solid. Jordan Clarkson played 40 minutes tonight, just under 40 minutes, 10 for 18 from the field. So 55% from the field, 55% from 3 on 9 threes. He also shot 11 free throws, which is not that common with Clarkson. Typically, he's shooting that floater and not getting the line. He's avoiding the foul. But tonight, 8 for 11 from 3, 33 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Just a monster night from Jordan Clarkson. Absolutely monster. And he's just... Does anyone not love Jordan Clarkson? He's fantastic. He's fun. You can tell he's a great locker room guy. They can't trade Jordan Clarkson. They can't. They can trade Mike Conley. They can trade Kelly Olynyk. They can trade some of these veterans, Malik Beasley. I do not want them to trade Jordan Clarkson because he is just such a core piece of what they do. And he makes me happy. I want to be happy. And Jordan Clarkson makes me happy. He was fantastic tonight. He's just doing everything. He's evolving as a playmaker. It's just really fun to see. I'm just curious now. How old is Clarkson? Clarkson is 30 years old. So he's got a good 3 to 5 years left of prime play, So it's nice that he's on the Jazz for that time frame. And we should just all enjoy Jordan Clarkson and appreciate Jordan Clarkson more, right? Fantastic. Let's see. Colin Sexton, I had him on the over on Prize Picks with assists, and he did it. He was a plus 19 in this game. So, we talked about it in the SLC Dunk podcast. A lot of what he does feels so mechanical at times. But man, is he fast. And man, does he care. Like, what I love about Colin Sexton is just the fire that he plays. You can be frustrated with Colin Sexton with some of his decision making. His vision is not that great. I don't know if he's ever going to be a real dynamic assist guy because he just doesn't have the best vision. It's just is what it is. But he is trying, and he's trying to share the ball, and that's awesome to see. There's so many times with players, and then just in life with people at work and things like that. There's ability and willingness. Are you able? Are you willing? You could argue what level of ability or ability, however you want to say that, capability Colin Sexton has with the playmaking, but you cannot argue with the willingness. It is 100%. And so you can work with that. And that's why he gets minutes and he plays hard. And sometimes he has blinders, but he is trying his best to be a good playmaker and set his teammates up. And we're seeing it. 6 assists. I mean, you can't argue it. And between him and Clarkson, that's 11 assists. So they're kind of moneyballing this thing. Like with Mike Conley out, these guys are kind of generating those assists. That a lot of those might be created by Mike Conley. So let's also just mention Walker Kessler, who He's had his moments where it's been a little up and down, but it's mostly been up this year for Walker Kessler. He had that monster block. Look at this, 4 blocks in this game. He's turning into a special player. I thought what was crazy was that stat they gave. Let's see, actually, I think we can pull it up here. Let's pull up, let's do players, and let's do traditional, and let's look at, this is per game. Where does Walker Kessler is number 12 in the NBA in blocks per game. He is a rookie, and he is coming off the bench, and he is number 12. That is wild. That is absolutely wild. Shout out to the broadcast for mentioning that. That is crazy. For him to be that impactful, he is such a good defensive rim protector. He's fantastic. And so to see him being number 12 in the NBA, he's got a future as an all defensive team player. What a fun, awesome pickup. You know, we talked about it with Lauri Markkanen. When the Jazz made the trade with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, you had hoped that they could bring over some guys that they could develop. And Walker Kessler, as a rookie, doing this is fantastic. You know, Lauri Markkanen doing these things and basically being like a shoe-in. It's going to be between like Lauri Markkanen and Bol for most improved player. But Markkanen's on a better team. Like the stuff Bol is doing for the Magic is amazing, and he's honestly doing incredible stuff. But Markkanen's leading a winning team. The Jazz right now, in the standings, let's see. Let's just refresh this. After tonight, much to my oh look, so it just changed. I watched literally 20 minutes ago. Something happened. But anyways, they dropped to 7th, but this is a playoff level team, right? 13 and 11. You go to the stupid Orlando Magic, they're 5 and 17. If you're talking most improved player, I'm not picking the 5 and 17 team. If there's a tiebreaker, it goes to the better team. And Lauri Markkanen is playing against good teams. You know, the Clippers are a good defensive team. Even tonight, with the Clippers being absolutely just, you could tell they had just dead legs. They were super tired. Markkanen still gets like the toughest defender. They're trying to scheme him out of the game, and he's still finding a way to do this. And he's getting better. So the shooting is fantastic. The percentages are great. +6, rebounding, assists. The turnovers are not high. He's just playing incredible. And at the very least, he should be most improved player. And I think he really should get some consideration for All-Star. I think he's got to find a way. If he can get his average to like 24, 25, I think he's like a lock for All-Star, especially with like Paul George not playing. Kawhi Leonard's not going to be considered. He doesn't play basketball anymore. Lauri Markkanen might get a shot. You know, it's just tough. It's tough to get these things because you always have to say, well, who's he knocking out? He's not knocking out Luka Doncic. LeBron James is going to get the fan vote. So you can go through it and maybe go to the SLC Dunk podcast. It's the video before this one on the lives, and you can listen to that. We talked about it. I think Markkanen has a real shot for All-Star. I don't know. It's going to be close. He'll be like one of the last ones added. Are the people of Finland voting? Can we get the great people of Finland to vote for Lauri Markkanen? If we can, then I think he has a real shot. Somehow we talked about Lauri Markkanen after Walker Kessler. But anyways, Walker Kessler is great. He's fun to watch. He's so poised for a rookie. It's amazing. And just 4 block shots. It's fantastic. Malik Beasley, we talked about it in the SLC Dunk podcast. He's quietly had like 3 or 4 he's in a slump right now. A slump of slumps. It's bad. 1 for 9 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. I don't know if he got hurt, that something's affecting his ability to shoot the ball, but he last 3 games has been awful. And when a shooter like this, who, you know, we all know Malik Beasley is just a lights out shooter, it makes me wonder if he tweaked something, turned an ankle, has something with his hand. I don't know. But it's not quite right with Beasley. Something happened. Maybe he's sick. I don't know. But 1 for 9 from the field, this is just not normal. These are just awful numbers. And he's still a +6. So this has quietly been a part of the reason the Jazz have lost 5 in a row is he has just not shot the ball well. It's just not been there. 3 assists, though. So I love Malik Beasley. We've talked about it a lot. I think I don't know what's going on. I think it's something that we don't know about. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and it could just be a slump. It could just be he's having a 3 or 4 game slump where for whatever reason he's just not hitting his shots, or maybe teams are like scheming him. That's the other thing. Maybe they're kind of doing some things they know that can slow him. I don't know. This is something to watch though. It's been like 3 or 4 games now where it's been just really bad. Like really bad. Look at that. Lakers beating Portland. Interesting. Anyways, Alexander Walker, look at that. 5 for 7 from the field. He was a -1. That's pretty decent. 11 points. He's been so up or down this season. I don't know if there's a lot to say about him. And Simone Fontecchio got minutes tonight. He had 3 points, and that's all I'm going to say. I don't really have anything else to say. He's turned out to be a nice shooter. I'd like to see him get more minutes, but you're not getting more minutes for him unless the Jazz make some sort of move. Guys, I'm exhausted. I am like really tired, but it was nice to see the Jazz get a nice win tonight, and they did a great job. I think this is interesting. They didn't play Horton Tucker. I wonder if they are just saying, you know what, we need to give you a rest. He did not play well last game. Like, it was rough stuff. And so he might be sitting. And I think this right here is actually, sometimes on this show we talk about DMPs and in an angry way. For example, Ochai Agbaji, I would like to see him play more minutes. It's hard to argue. He's actually, by the way, been putting up numbers in the G League. So this will be fun if he starts getting more minutes. It'd be nice to see. But Talen Horton-Tucker had such a rough couple games. And it actually makes me happy to know that Will Hardy will just sit these guys. For so many years, we've seen other players on this Jazz team. They just don't see any sort of consequence for poor play. It's interesting. This is good for culture right here. It really is. If you don't play well, you sit. And some of this is just bad decision making. And when you're not making good decisions, and it's not like he wasn't getting good minutes. He was getting 15 minutes per game. That's good, significant minutes for him off the bench on a winning team. And it was really rough. And so it's nice to just see this from Will Hardy. I don't know. I like that. So anyways, nice win for the Jazz. Guess what, guys? It's about that time. Let me go to here. We got to start this. Guys, by the way, thank you for being here. It is just, I really appreciate everyone who is on this channel right now. It's nice to see the Jazz win. Also, I'm adjusting the sound. Let me know if it's too loud. It was really loud last time. Oh, let's do this. Nothing gets me more pumped than this. The All-Stars, the ones that make it happen. You guys are the wind beneath my wings. All right, let's give a shout out. Can you hear me? Am I loud enough? Let me know. All right, let's give a shout out to Ryan Perry, the legend, Jared Chanderbilt, Shantheric, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo, Baby Elliott Matson, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Just Buckets JB, Zap Watts, TGD Total Game Domination, Christian House Money to Haas, Tyson Price, the price is right, X marks the spot for Zintis, Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer, Ezekiel Raicibe, the man from down under, Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire, Donald Schooley, schooling all of us, DW the CB, Darren Williams, the Carlos Boozer, Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Can you hear me? Is it good? I adjusted the levels, but it might be too loud still, or maybe it's just right. Maybe this porridge is just right. Guys, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, if you like doing the props, go to Prize Picks and get your free money with the promo code HoopsNerd. It's a great way to have some fun, especially if the Jazz make a big trade. If they make a big trade, this is a fun way to have some fun, if that makes sense. Guys, welcome back. The Jazz win. The channel goes better. It goes better when the Jazz win. Thank you for being here, guys. I will talk to you next time.